Hey everyone, welcome back to the garage. I know it's been a while since I posted last, but I do have the video for part 2 of the Impala project ready. It just took me a while to edit it. I've been working a lot of overtime and getting some other projects done. Let me show you inside the shop real quick. Things been changing. I got a couple new cars going on that I'm going to reveal later. That one obviously you can see the front of. I sold my 67 Camaro. Just been pretty busy. It's been a pretty busy spring and early summer. So it took me a minute to get part 2 out, but I crammed the whole video in. It's about an hour, but we're gonna just charge through it, get it done, and you guys can see at the end how well it turned out. But let's get to it. Okay, and here we go. We got a bunch of stuff. First things most important, we have a real back seat now. I went with the simple plain back seat. I could have went with the one that folded and had the center. You could fold, get into the trunk. But you know what? Honestly, this is fine. It works just great. We got the pillar molding to replace the hole that where the teardrop light was over on the A pillar. We got these pieces here that went between the doors that was cut for the cage on the back of the seats. New trim. We actually have a set of factory floor mats, an owner's manual, because you got to have an owner's manual in your car, and a new dash piece because on this car there is a hole drilled right there with a button, and honestly, I don't like that. One upgrade that I wasn't going to do, but I am doing, because it was cheap, is I'm putting in a center console with an armrest, cup holders, storage, and all this. And that's going to go in place where there is absolutely nothing right now. These cars, the Impalas, they had two options. Center console like this, or kind of like a bench seat where the cup holders were mounted in the middle. But it was all kind of a bench seat. I got to the junkyard, and this was already taken out of a car. So I'm like, why not? So we're going to work on that. But first, I have some trunk goodies. I actually have a carpeted back to put in the trunk instead of that rubber piece. So let's go ahead and get some trunk goodies put in, and we'll get that big stuff out of the way. Okay, so let's get in here. And the first thing we're going to do right off the bat is get rid of this rubber trunk piece. We're going to start by taking this out. I want to mess everything up in the meantime, but that's out. And if you noticed, there's no spare tire. We might even get rid of this, since that piece has a nice thick cardboard piece on it. But there's no spare tire. I'm going to vacuum out this, and guess what? I actually went ahead and got a spare tire and a never used jack kit. It's got everything you need. It's all set. I don't think it's ever been out of the car or ever under a car. Look how brand new that is. And I did show you the spare tire for a brief second, but guess what? Oh, we need that. This was never mounted on a car. This is a brand new spare tire as well. We'll check the air pressure, make sure that's good, and we'll get all this stuff locked up where it's supposed to be. All this stuff I had to get out of a donor car. So the first thing we're going to get is this piece here. Everything slides over this and tightens down so it doesn't move around or jump around in the back of the car. So as you can see here, this bracket has a couple different options. I believe this is a universal bracket they weld in the back of all the GM cars, and they just use different holes for different setups. I know they have hooks, which a hook goes in here, and then the threaded part goes up, but this is a slot, and that goes in here. What this does is this goes in here, obviously, and then slides back, and then there's actually a little piece here pushed down, and that clips into the hole that this went into. So now that's nice and secure. So then we can take our jack pack, let's call it a jack pack, and that will go in next. Obviously it says front, so we're going to go front, and that goes through that hole. It's a little dusty, but we're going to go ahead and slide that on. All right. Well, just slid that on. I know nobody was seated during that whole exciting moment. So that's in, all right? And then we take our spare tire, and I already went ahead and checked the air. I did inflate it to 420 pounds. No, just kidding. I actually inflated it to, I believe it's 60 on this. But yeah, we got proper inflation in the tire, so we'll go ahead and put that in. So as you can see, this jack pack styrofoam is kind of molded in a way. It's got these rounded edges. Well, that's because the back of the wheel sits down in there and seats and just kind of sits in there comfortably. But before we do that, we got to put this on, and this will hold this down to this, and then we'll put the tire on top. Okay, so with that wing nut tightened down the jack pack, the tire goes over top, like I said, sits in there nice and tight, and the threads pop up through the lug nut hole, but you want to secure this down as well, and that's what this is for. Now, this is kind of weird because cars I remember, they look like this, and they usually had a centerpiece, and they tightened down and then snugged into the center of the wheel and tightened down, but this is off center, which I've never seen. And then I started questioning myself that this can't be right, but I checked like 4 or 5 other Impalas, and sure enough, these were all used. I guess it's not the most secure thing in the world, but whatever. The edge of the plastic holds down the tire, so there it is. Just make sure it's crimped down really good. That puppy's not gonna go anywhere. She in there. Well, I guess they just didn't want to make anything specific for the cars that were off-centered, and just, they had millions of these made and just used them. So there. And now we'll put that carpet in, and the trunk will be all done. Okay, so with that wing nut tightened down the jack pack, the tire goes over top, like I said, sits in there nice and tight, and the threads pop up through the lug nut hole, but you want to secure this down as well, and that's what this is for. There it is. Just make sure it's crimped down really good. That puppy's not gonna go anywhere. She in there. And now we'll put that carpet in. All right, carpet is in. It's all tucked in underneath the side carpet. It's all tucked in. Looking really good. So this is all done. It's not done. I got a couple little creature comforts out of another car. Actually, a Impala SS. I would love an Impala SS. I got this little piece here. Here's all the fasteners. I don't want to lose those. Now, I believe all the civilian cars had this, but this one did not. It is the trunk carpet for the top part. Well, look at that. Looks a little more civilized. And as a special treat, I picked up an Impala cargo net to go in the back. I'm going to put these in and get this all set up. This carpet piece that goes on the bottom side of the trunk lid is just held in by these little Christmas trees, and they go all the way around, and they just pop in to the hole in the trunk like that and push in. Now this is molded. Oh, also make sure that your trunk release from the inside is sticking out. Now this has 2 handles basically molded into this, so you can just pull down like that. But this car also had a handle here, which looks like this. I'm assuming, because it was a police car and it didn't have this, that this is how they pulled the trunk down. I'm going to have both options. I'm actually going to take a knife. I'm going to trim this out so that I can pop this handle back in, and then it'll be all done. I got this in, got the handle in. I did cut this up a little funky. I do have to get a brand new blade and cut this, and I'm going to actually make it look a little nicer coming around, but I'll do that later. The carpet was actually thick and holding this from locking in. So now that's locked in, I can trim this up evenly all the way around. And no, I didn't forget, the cargo net is in. Oh, yeah. All right. Now the trunk is done. Now, believe it or not, out of this entire trunk rebuild, this one fastener is killing me, not having it here. So I went, got a new one, and now this plastic piece is in and holding the carpet correctly. That one piece was bugging me. All right, step inside. Walk this way. We're tearing the dash apart. Hey, hey. All right, so you're not going to believe this, but I am going to tear this entire insert out, right? Because of this one button. This one button kills the entire dash for me, and I want to get rid of it. So this whole piece comes out together. And to take it out, you have to pull these little, well, not these, but pull these little panels off. See, so you pop the side panel off, and there is a bolt here. You can use a Phillips head or a socket. So you take that out, and you take the two out from underneath, there and there, and then this whole thing will pop out. Don't forget the one on the passenger side. You gotta do the same thing. Pop this off, take that screw out. And then, this essentially pops out all the way down. Oh, I'll have to get the key and move the shifter. But this whole piece comes right out. And, as you can see here, that's what it looks like. Vent to vent. So we're going to take that one out, and I have to unhook the wiring from here, and then just simply plug it back in for the info center buttons. But I'm going to clean this up while it's out. Okay, so to put this back in, I actually have to move the shifter out of the way, and also make sure your tilt steering wheel is all the way down. And then we can put that back in. I also have to reconnect this wire into that spot and then get it into position, which I'm going to do right now. I just need two hands, so give me 1 second. All right, couple seconds. All right, so we're all clicked in, and then this just simply, obviously you put that underneath there. It's easier with two hands, but I want to show you guys. So I got that side in. You go under the dash. And then I have to, oh, battery's getting low. And then I have to move this button and push it in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put that back up. Oh, there we go. Put that back up. I'm going to turn the car off. And then this just simply pushes in, locks in there. And then this locks in all the way across. Again, I need two hands. Basically, that's it. And then I will tighten or put the bolts back in each end cap, and then the two in the instrument panel. And then that piece will be done. Okay, remember these pieces? They were cut. They go on the pillar, but they were cut for these brackets to mount the cage in the back. Well, these are cut and all scratched up. So, we're going to replace them with nice ones. These are super simple. They just slide in, and then you got to line up some stuff here. Like these little tabs go in this little tab, and then these little locks go in there, and blah, blah, blah. Super easy. I'm going to put this one on, and then the passenger side, and then those are done. Boom. Those are done. Another random missing piece of trim. Now, mind you, the last couple pieces have been off that Super Sport, so this is going to be so much quicker now with fast parts. No, not really. Now, we're going to go ahead and put the back seat in. Got the nice new back seat, new used, which will be a lot more comfortable than this hard plastic thing. So we're going to put this backside in first. And we're going to do that because these little hooks back here clip into these openings in the back. And then there's two mounts on the bottom that screw into there. So the back cushion, the bottom cushion covers those. So we need to put the back on first. But before we do that, this is missing a push-in clip, which I got one from the junkyard. Even though you're not going to see it and the back seat's going to hold this down, it bothers me and I'm going to have to do it right. So let's go ahead and put that right in. Done. All done. So let's put the seat in. Okay, there. Got the 4 clips, all 4 in. Make sure you don't miss one, because then your seat will flop around a little bit. But those 4 clips are in. I got that bracket on. And now this bracket just simply goes over that, like so. And then there's 2, well, one for each side, 10 millimeter nuts that go over top. Those get tightened down. Boom. That one and that one, back cushion's in. There's no bolts or anything that hold this back seat down, but there is 2 metal hooks, one on each side, and those sneak up underneath here. And then in the front, you see these holes here, one on each side. That is where these clip in. And if you ever have to take the back seat out, they give you this little handle here. And if you look, well, you can kind of see it right down here. That pulls in because this locks into that spot right down there. So, but what you want to make sure is when you put this in, okay, we'll slide that in like that. Okay, get her down. Don't forget your seat belts. And those obviously come up through and slide into these inserts that are made in the seat. So get your 2 seat belts up, hook your hook into that spot right here, and then just simply, bam, push this down, and the front will lock in and your back seat will be in. And just like that, the back seat is in, got it hooked, and then this comes down and locks in. Boom, all set. Now we've already done a few things in the front. We fixed some trim. We fixed this bezel with that push button that was, screwed in, and fixed a couple other missing pieces or broken pieces. But now I'm going to concentrate on this. So the police cruisers came with this bracket right here, and they mounted a piece here to put. They had 2 little cup holders and something else going on back here, and this is where they hooked up all their computers and their equipment and had everything right here, accessible to them. I was gonna go ahead and change these front seats, but the Impalas came with 2 options: buckets and kind of a bench that you could fold down the center, and there was a little cup holder thing. That bench system actually has a different bracket here. And I found out that the cars with the center console shift actually use this same exact bracket that is in these police cars. So I went ahead, and if you look over here, let's take a walk, I actually got a center console out of another Impala. So this is a factory Chevy Impala center console. And like I said, it uses those same 4 mounting points as the police one. So I'm going to throw this in, and that way you can have cup holders, an armrest, and a place to put your stuff. And then there's also going to be storage here. I don't have the bezel. I don't know where it is right now, but anyway, there's a bezel that sits in here, and then you can have storage up here too. What also is really cool is it has 2 12-volt powers here and 1 here. So I'll be getting those hooked up so all 3 will work as well. And you're probably going to ask yourself, with the shift bezel here, it's going to have a large opening where the shifter was. And since the police cars were column shift, I'm going to have both? No, I'm not. They actually make a piece that slides into that opening, and it's like a little cell phone change, pens, whatever you want, like a little cubby hole that fits into that where that shifter was. So that's kind of cool how somebody made up that to put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and first thing we have to do is pull this out. And this is where, oh, I'm blocking my own light. So if you have a column shift, you have these two 12-volt ports down here in this piece. Well, this whole piece has to come out. And that's simply just held in, simply, with pins. And then there's your two 12 volts there. This got screwed into, so we're going to take it out anyway. We're going to garbage that. Now that that's available, I already cut one off here, because we only need one feed wire going to that center console to power those three. So I'm going to clip this here, and I am going to connect some wires that will connect to that wire in the center console, and then we'll get that mounted up in here. Let me show you guys what I'm up to. I'm wiring up the 12-volt plugins, but I cut the factory ones here, and this one, since there was two of them, I cut these, bent them over, squeezed them with the pliers, and then I individually taped them, and then I taped them both together. So they are done and safe out of the way. So that won't affect anything. I didn't have any caps to put on the end, but I think what I did was, it was fine. And then I went ahead and cut these, and I actually, if you notice, I cut them. I'm sure the professional electricians do this already, but as just a Joe Schmo like me, I actually staggered these so that you can put them together and it won't be all fat and bulky in one spot. Because what I'm gonna do is, after I tape these and get the center console in and set, I'm actually gonna use some of this wire loom. This was in the car from the police equipment, but I'm actually gonna use some of this wire loom and wrap it around so it's all tied in and looked really good. And then that will, being staggered, that will help put it inside of here and not be bulky in one spot. Just a little tip. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people already knew to stagger those, but in case you didn't, there's a little tip. Okay, I got the console side ready, and here is the factory wiring that comes in from under the dash and goes to this. Again, this originally had two. I'm changing it to one to feed into the factory line here, and that factory line goes into here and splits off. This supplies the two in the front, and this supplies the one in the armrest, which is in here. So I staggered these as well. So we're gonna go ahead, and I made sure I had enough wiring to reach. I'm gonna go ahead and place the center console in the car and then wire that up, and I'll show you exactly how it's mounted in there. Okay, so here's the console. I took the driver's seat out because there's a couple things I need to do. I need to clean under it, and there is a spot here I need to reconnect, and it was just easier outside the car. These two pieces came disconnected. They need to hook up. But if you have side airbags in your seat, make sure your battery's been disconnected for a while before you unplug the airbag, which is the yellow one, or else you are going to get an airbag service light on your car or truck or whatever you're driving. So make sure you're powered completely down. Don't disconnect your battery and run over here and disconnect it, because there's that, what do they call it? Ghost charge? Ghost trickle or whatever? There's still power in the system, so let it die out completely before you unhook that. So here's the center console. So I put that in, I pulled the wires through to make sure I can hook them up to there. And there's these four, they're kind of like set inside the frame, these connectors here. There are 4 holes, they're in the corners, and these bolt the center console down to that. So that's how this goes in here, and this just simply slides under the dash. Boom. Basically, that's it. That was super simple. I have to connect the wires, shimmy it around, make sure it's in there tight, screw those down, and the car has a center console. Okay, the console's in. She's She's in there pretty tight. And the whole reason I wanted to put the console in was something to hold your coffee while you're driving. So that is done. And I wanted storage for here was the biggest thing. Storage, an arm rest, and cup holders. The aftermarket has a thing here, but it's like $270 for the retired police car center consoles that you can buy online. This whole thing was $25. So, and it was the same exact mount. So I think you can see why I chose a factory one. Plus it looks factory and it looks good. So got the wire loom in there. Looks real nice. Looks all good. So that looks all factory. That's tucked in there. Now we'll put this piece in. This is your shift bezel. Let me try that again. This is your shift bezel, which won't be a shift bezel anymore. See, it's all just clips, all just plastic clips. It all just slides in. So it goes in there like that, and in. Oh, can't forget the mat that goes in here. That slides in here. There. That's in. So with 99% of the interior done, besides cleaning and getting that seat back in, I wanted to clean underneath of it first though. We are going to go ahead and start working on the engine again. So here's a bunch of my parts that I wanted cleaned and painted. I went with a rust proofing type paint, and after I sanded everything down and cleaned it up, I went ahead and threw about 3 to 4 coats of that paint on there. I like the flat black. I'm going to leave it like that. I cleaned up the valve covers and I put the new grommets in. I'm going to leave these natural. They look pretty good. I think painting them would make them look cheap, so I'm going to leave them alone. I also cleaned up the alternator. It had some gunk on it, so got that cleaned up. And another bracket. I cleaned up the bolt heads. So I'm going to go ahead, and now that I have everything set, I'm going to go ahead and put the new valve cover gaskets in and get this engine put back together. Well, off camera, I went ahead and just put this whole thing back together. Got the new valve covers on, all the spark plugs, the spark plug wires, everything's bolted back in place. I got the new power steering pump in. I have to bleed it still. There's a process to do that. All the stuff is hooked back up. Oil's changed, and it was running great. And then I realized I have a couple drips of antifreeze on the floor, just a couple. So I went ahead and started investigating, and I found that, I don't know if you can see it, cracked radiator. It's actually leaking out down here in this big crack. Couple cracks all the way up the side there. I'm sure there's some on this side. So I've already removed the fans. Well, everyone, it's been a couple of days, and I finally got the radiator in. And yes, there are actually 2 different style radiators for this generation Impala. Want to make sure that you get the right one. Mine actually has the hose in the middle. I've seen the hose, this piece actually up here on some of them, so I don't know if this is the V8 version or just another version of a V6 one. I tried to do some research on the police car radiators. I'm really not finding much online, but this is nice, brand new one. Got the new it comes with transmission coolant connections already here. I also went ahead and got new clips. These here, I got these new clips. Those hold the transmission line. They clip into here and they hold the transmission line. I got new ones because one bounced right on out of here. Don't know where he went. Maybe he went to Florida where it's warmer. But then the other one kind of got damaged pulling out. So got all new clips for the lines, all new radiator to go in. And we're gonna go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna clean that up down there and get this all taken care of, get this new radiator in, get all the hoses connected, get all this stuff back connected. And after that, I do believe mechanically, engine-wise anyway, this car is complete. We're gonna go ahead and bleed the power steering pump. I have not done that yet, but we'll bleed that and we'll get coolant in, bleed that, and get this all set. Well, I got on such a roll that I didn't even take video of it, but I went ahead, put the radiator back in, or I put the new radiator in, buckled everything up, got everything all put back together, started the car, purged the systems that I was gonna purge, everything running good, let her run for about a half an hour, runs amazing. I can't believe this car actually ran with only 5 cylinders and an oxygen sensor not even working. So having everything back together and everything working, this is a very smooth running engine. All right, we're gonna start working on this body. The first thing we're gonna do is take care of this front end. Visually, it doesn't look bad, but if you really look, these headlights, there's no coming back. There's no polish that's gonna fix those. And I do believe the tab, one of them has a broken tab. Can't remember which one. So we're just gonna replace these. Also, this front end, the plastic underneath is cracked. So this piece that's under this one is all, I'm gonna replace that piece because the front end is a little loose. As you can see, it's pretty bad. So we're gonna fix all that. It's also missing a bunch of plastics underneath. So we're gonna go to the junkyard, find a car that is complete in the front and get everything for under here and everything we need to finish, getting this all tidied up. And we'll have a nice tight front end with new headlights and see if there's anything else that we need to fix or buy. So I'm gonna pull this apart. That way I can make a list. All right, we're gonna start by popping off these headlights. You wanna see how easy these headlights pop off? You see this plastic piece right here? This plastic piece holds 2 nubs into this main piece underneath. So if we pull that up like this, take it right out and loosen up this bolt. Okay. I already loosened it up, obviously, with the ratchet, but pop that out, and then headlight comes out. That easy. Front clip is off. So now I can really see the damage. Not only was it broken up here in these 2 spots, which made it loose, it's also cracked here. Stuff's falling. It's also cracked here. So this whole piece made the front end loose. Look at this. It's all connected. So this whole plastic thing. Hopefully I can find one that's in one piece in the junkyard. Just got back from a trip at the junkyard and I was able to find a whole piece that was unbroken. If you notice on the old one, like I showed you, it's just cracked everywhere. And those 2 mounting tabs are broken. Well, this one luckily had 2 mounting tabs that were unbroken. This one is cracked up the side, but I don't think there's a Chevy Impala on earth that doesn't have these cracked from the factory. So I grabbed the best of what I could find. Maybe I'll just glue that, but it'll be fine. It also came with this, which I don't need, so I have an extra one of those. But grabbed a bunch of fasteners, grabbed a bunch of miscellaneous parts that's going to help with getting the rear doors working again, and some interior bits to finish that off. And I also grabbed the whole front underneath, the air dam and everything. And this goes underneath the whole front end of the car. And all that was missing, so I picked all that up with the fasteners and went ahead and removed everything. So now I did some rust proofing real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this all back together. It should be pretty easy. It looks like I have everything I need. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, got the new, I guess we call these the impact cushion. I don't know. They're plastic. They go into the bumper. But it's all on and it is all good now. So my headlights won't be shaking around because these were all broken and they'll be nice and tight. These are all fixed. This is all nice and tight. Cleaned everything up. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the front bumper cover on, which is back here. But before I do that, I should really hook these cooling fan wires back up and splice them together before I put the cover on. It'll be a lot easier than trying to work in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will be back and show you the bumper cover on. Also going to clean that up and get that on as well. So this shouldn't take too long. All right, front bumper's on. It's on kind of loose right now, but you see this giant opening? That's supposed to be covered up with something. So I found that something, and that's this giant piece right here. It's all one piece. It's kind of the air scoop right there that brings air in. It also covers that underneath from getting debris up in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up in the car, and then we can finish up the front bumper, bolting it to the fender, and then all these, this has a bunch of holes and a bunch of holes underneath. Tighten that up and get that all situated. So I'm gonna pop that up in there and I'll show you when I'm done. Bumper's back on. I got this new piece in, and the bumper is actually fucking solid now. Before it was shaking. So all this is put back together, and I got the new undercarriage pan in. This was a big piece, so that's all done. Of course, it took me longer than normal because, you know me, I gotta clean and paint and the wiring and all that stuff. So what is left on this front bumper is I have to, because of rust, the bolts broke, so I just have to drill and tap new holes, and then on both sides zip this up and then put the wheel wells in. Went ahead and put new nuts, bolts, and actually some lock washers so the bolts stay tight. Put all new stuff there and there, there and there. So now the front bumper is connected to the fenders now. The grille has to go back on, and most importantly, these two headlights. I went ahead and got these really nice black housing ones. They're not black tinted, so that the headlights still operate properly. They're just black housing, which is really nice. And compared to the old ones, boy, they look a lot better. Well, did. So, the other thing, that these headlights didn't come with bulbs. So, I went ahead, we're going to upgrade to LED high and low beams. And these are the lower. I didn't get the super bright ones because I didn't want to blind people, but these will help dramatically over the originals. I'm going to go ahead and put these in. They're super simple. Remember me showing you how we took them out? Unbolt this, slide it into that bracket, and then the brackets in the front, if you remember, these hold the headlights in. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in, and I'll show you when I'm all done. Oh man, those look really good. Gonna go ahead and get this interior done. One thing I noticed is my defrost. Hey, skylights. My defrost is all broken up, and this is actually one whole panel that goes all the way across. And we got a new one, not broken. I even got the what's this called? Dawn sensor, automatic light sensor. So I can just unplug that one, plug that one in. But I do have to take off the inner pillars on both sides, pop those back off, pull this out, and then all it is clipped in all the way across, and you just carefully pop it out. I'll pop this one back in. We're also gonna go ahead and replace the rear view mirror I already went ahead and got a new one out of another car, but the one that's in here it's all messed up. Hey everyone. Yeah, this mirror is all messed up. It's just ugly. And new one looks amazing. Police cars. Obviously, you don't want the criminals getting out. So the rear windows don't work. And there's no unlock button thing here. So what we have to do is I already took this apart. I'll show you on the other side. The windows, check out what they did. They took this pin out of the wiring harness so that your window doesn't work. Pretty wild. So I'm glad they didn't cut nothing. I can untape that. I actually have another plug from another car, so I know exactly where to plug this in so that the rear windows will work. Also, I went ahead and got a new lock mechanism because this has the rod and everything. So we will have locking and unlocking doors and manual lock and unlock, so no one's stuck in the back seat. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this interior. All that's left is I got some factory Impala floor mats, cool little light colored surround. So those will go front and rear, door locks, get the panels back on. It'll be a full functioning interior. And yes, I know, I still haven't addressed that gaping hole in the center console yet. Remember? Column shift, but yet we got a center console. What are we gonna do? Got a surprise for you. It's actually pretty neat. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this stuff around. I'll show you when I'm done, and this interior will be done except for a nice little detail. Mirrors all replaced, nice clean glass, and the lights work on this one. They didn't work on the other mirror, so that's pretty neat. Also fixed this piece is all taken care of. So now we're gonna work on these doors so I have full windows and full power locks. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this together. Here is the door handle, and they disconnected that. So all I gotta do is pop that back into place, and I can open the door from the inside. And then also I was telling you guys earlier that the windows don't work because they took this pin out. Well, this pin, I took the tape off, and the pin actually goes in that slot on the bottom left. So this will slide in and click and lock. And then what happens is you plug the power window switch back in, and it connects to all the connectors inside, and then you'll have a full circuit, and I'll have power windows again. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together, and then I'm gonna work on getting this door lock and door lock bar put in. Okay, you have to pull this blue lock out, slide your wire in, slide this lock back in, hooked up, and now look at that. I have working rear power windows. It's pretty sweet. I'm glad they didn't cut that. Oh, finally got the passenger rear door back all together. Everything's hooked up, and look at now we have a manual lock as well as power locks. Woo-hoo! That's pretty awesome. And as you guys saw earlier, the window works, and I can open the door from the inside now. So we have a fully functional rear door on the police car. Now we're going to take care of that one. The interior is officially done. I've replaced every broken panel. I've replaced every cut panel. Everything here is done. Back doors, fully functional on both sides. We got a full cushy back seat. We have a center console. We have all the broken pieces fixed. And like I said, gonna repeat it, column shift with a center console. What are you gonna do about the shift, where the shift lever was? Well, check out this little thing here. It's a 3D printed insert. So this is where the shifter was on the car, but because the shifter's there and I didn't want to move it, you got this big gaping hole into all beneath it here. So in order to fix that problem, this is really one of the only solutions right now that I could find is a 3D printed insert that you put right in here. And I think it looks really good. It's just one more spot that you could put stuff. You could put your phone or change or candy in there if you'd like. But yeah, this is pretty neat. It looks really good. It did need some trimming. It's just 3D printed. So I did have to trim it up a little bit, sand it down so it would fit in there nice, but it's in there pretty solid and it looks good. So that was my solution for fixing the hole in the center console. So besides a detail, this interior is done. Okay, we're getting ready to do these wheels. I just had all 4 professionally sandblasted, and by that I mean I did it outside with a wire wheel and a grinder. But got all the loose paint, loose rust all taken off. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this wheel down with some solvent, get everything off, make sure I'm using a microfiber towel so I don't get any stuff on it. I'm also gonna use this Eastwood rust encapsulator. It might work out a little better than just standard spray paint. Might be a little more durable on these wheels. So I got them sitting in some hot water for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and I mounted the wheel right on the car, put one lug nut on, and I'm just gonna spin it and paint it because, well, this is just a driver. This isn't a no-show car. We're just gonna spruce up the wheels and make them look a whole lot better than they are. I'm sure whoever owns this car after me will probably put different wheels on it anyway. So these tires are brand new, and we're just gonna make these wheels look a little better than what they are. So I'm gonna get cracking on this. I'm gonna do all 4. This dries to a matte finish. I'm gonna see how they look once they cure. I don't want to go too shiny with them, but if I don't like the matte, I do have a satin paint that I can put over top of this Eastwood. So let me get cracking on these, show you how it ends up. Get some of that solvent on there. You can use rubbing alcohol, all sorts of stuff, just to get the grease from your hands. I wear gloves anyway, but this gets... Oh, I forgot to mention, I did have these outside and I sprayed them down with some degreaser and some cleaner, and then scrubbed them. I had a scrubby. I scrubbed them down with soapy water. So these have already been pre-cleaned, and I let them sit overnight. So I'm just using this to get any dirt, dust, or grime or anything off. As we all know, painting prep is key. So I'll finish wiping this down with some rubbing alcohol, let it dry a little, and then we'll paint. Wheel is all dry from the solvent. Go ahead and paint it. We'll take our can out of nice hot water. You're gonna want to make sure you wipe it down. You don't want any water getting on your wheel or hitting the wheel while you're painting. So make sure it's all dry. There we go. I'm gonna shake it up. Shake it up a little bit. I'm not worried about getting any paint on the actual tire itself. Tires are flexible. That'll move while you're driving, and it'll just flake off anyway. I'm not going to tape the wheel. I'm not going to index card or do the garbage bag trick. Again, this isn't a show car. It's just a driver. So I'm not worried about any of that spray paint getting on the tire. It'll only be a tire. It'll only be a little bit anyway. Wheel, tire. Okay, get it shaken up, and then I'm just simply going to spin it, and then work my way out. And this is just the first coat, so I'm not too worried about getting it completely covered. I'm going to hit the edge of the wheel, which is called the rim. Yeah, get down inside the nooks, all these little holes, kind of go around with it. That way the little holes get done. And I'm back far enough away that I'm not causing, and I'm constantly spraying, but I'm not putting it on real thick, so I won't get any runs or anything. It looked like I was just holding the trigger on and spraying, but don't forget, instead of me doing this or back and forth, the wheel was spinning, so it's not very thick. It's just a first coat. We're gonna let all 4 dry. I'm gonna probably do a second coat, a little thicker, and that way I can really see where we're at. So I'm actually gonna leave this one on and let it dry right here. The other 3 are over there sitting, and they're almost dry. I'm gonna give it about another half an hour. I really wanna make sure it's dry. I know I only need like 10 minutes, but I wanna make sure. Got 2 coats of paint on the wheels, and they don't look too shabby. I may go 3 coats, but I'm gonna let these cure and dry. All done detailing it. I wasn't gonna bore you guys with detailing. Obviously, I did a 2-stage on the paint. First, I buffed it all out really good, and then I waxed it really good. So the paint is very shiny, very smooth. What a difference this car is now. You can barely even tell that there was any decals on it. It looks amazing. The wheels and tires look great. The headlights look great. The whole front end just has a nice aesthetic to it. I love that. I painted the bow ties white, front and rear, and the inside is all done as well. This keeps falling down. I got some spray glue in there, but it doesn't seem to be holding. Interior is completely detailed. This turned out really, really well. You can barely even tell that this used to be a police car. Just amazing. So, I think with all that, mechanically, it's good. Appearance-wise, it's great. I think we're going to call this one done. And I think we're actually going to send it down the road and let the next person enjoy it. Can't keep buying more if I don't sell them. All right, thank you for watching this video on the police car. Take care and stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe. Leave some comments below if you like this build. I'll keep doing more. All right, have a great day.